There you go.
All right, that one was on me. Sorry about that, y'all. Yikes.
I'm supposed to be the one that always has the nervous poops.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, that one was on me.
I don't think we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Mm.
We are for sure live.
Okay. Well, they don't know yet because I'm looking at my computer.
I have it up on mine. It's up.
Oh, yeah, good. Good.
Cheers, everybody. Welcome to the Average Money Christmas party. We're gonna
Pre-Christmas
kick these things
party.
Pre-Christmas party. And then
This is the public Christmas party.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you drinking?
I got me a Moscow Mule tonight, man.
I got a cornucopia. But
The hell is a cornucopia?
it's like a bunch of a little bit of everything. But
Like a Long Island?
I don't have that.
Okay.
No, not like a little like a bunch of different drinks.
Like beer, liquor, everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do want to start it off with a little tribute to your previous vacation. I'm starting off with a spicy margarita
Yes.
after your Cancun trip. Salt on the rim. So, and it's spicy salt.
Ooh, man. I love it. Yeah,
So-
they had this.
Sorry for everyone in the chat that has to watch me like this.
Ooh.
And I even kept the molestache
Oh, man.
to mix the margarita.
Well, if you're just listening, feel privileged because you don't have to look at this. It's quite disturbing.
It's a good thing about wearing a mask at work. I don't have to worry about, nobody knows I have a weird mustache. How was your trip, bud?
It was amazing, man. First, let me say this. So every year, Lindsay and I take a trip to ourselves. We promised that to each other when we got married, that every single year around our anniversary time, we would be taking a trip together. So far, we've nailed it, and it's been 7 years. We've taken 7 different trips to 7 different places, and I will say it's one of the best things we could have done for our marriage. If there's any newlyweds out there, or there's people who are about to get married, or there's couples who've been married for 20 plus years, you can start it now. Just being able to get away and kind of take some time back for yourself really does help. It does. Because, like, you know how it is, Brad. You got kids, you got a job. I mean, every single day you got something going on. You're busy. You got plans on the weekends. There's never just this, like, downtime. There's never just time to chill.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I'm kind of getting over a little sickness, too, from Mexico. No, but it was nice to get away. We did a lot of relaxing. We did a lot of partying. The resort we stayed at was like, a little hypey party resort. They had like EDM DJs and stuff. It was sick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Love it.
Got to read a book. I never get to read, I feel like, anymore.
What'd you pick there? What'd you read?
I started my list for 2020. I got or 2022, trying to read a book a month, and I started 7 Habits of Highly Effective or Highly Successful People or whatever.
Good one.
Yeah, so far it's pretty good. I'll be honest with you, the first chapter is a little over my head. It was like doing some psychology stuff. It's just, I don't know, I had to go back and reread it a couple times, but I'm also not the most intelligent guy in the room, as most of you probably know by now. Yeah, it's good. I can tell I'm going to get a lot out of it.
Good. Not
just business aspect too, like overall life stuff.
And for anybody that's in the chat, we are going to produce a separate link for after. And I think we still plan on having an open link, like maybe bring in 2 or 3 people at a time to cheers, say hello, give them a couple minutes and get them out.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. No, it sounds
so
good.
If you are in the chat, whenever this episode comes to end, we're going to release it to anybody that's in the Discord, either Average Money Discord, my Discord, or JJ's Discord. So if you're not in one of those Discords and you want to hop on a live stream later, go for it. But we talked briefly when you got back, and I asked you, like, were you able to not look at the markets? And I remember when you went to Hawaii. Go ahead.
Before you get to that, I got to say something I just thought about.
Yeah.
Again, for the trip, if there's anybody out there thinking about Cancun, we went to, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Isla Mujeres was freaking amazing. Rented a golf cart, drove around the island, stopped at a different place, grabbed some drinks.
Translates to the Great Island.
I thought it meant was the island of women.
Mujeres?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know women. Yes.
Yeah.
What did
So
what did I confuse mujeres with? What's like great. Whatever.
yeah. I
Okay.
don't know.
Go back to you.
That was basically it. Golf cart, went to Norte Beach, stopped at Oscars for pizza. Highly recommend that place. It was really good. Even though every place I tried to stop, they tried to jip me out a couple dollars for pesos to English dollars, whatever the hell, USD.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the transaction. What the hell am I trying? Exchange rate.
The exchange rate.
And I looked at it when I landed in the airport, and I was like, okay, I'll even shoot myself a little under, so it's more in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
And I always check the math before I pay for stuff because I'm a money guy. Why wouldn't I? Dude, everywhere I went to off the resort, they were overcharging me like $3 or $4 everywhere. And then when I would question them about it, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, senor, that's with the tip." And I'm like, "I'll tip separate when I, what I want. Let me pay for my ticket for what it's worth." So every place we went to, man, it happened. Except for Oscars. They didn't do it to me at Oscars Pizza.
Hustlers, bro.
They are hustlers, man.
And speaking of travel, did you book your trip yet?
Crap.
JJ's coming to town.
I'm coming.
JJ Buckner's coming. I'm throwing $100,000.
Nice.
I'm gonna throw some money around. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna be on the Brad Finn. I mean, you're gonna fly here on average money, but once you get here, it's all gonna be Brad Finn. Because we're celebrating 100,000 subscribers. So once you get here, it's gonna be a Brad Finn trip. I'm gonna give back.
Let's go, baby. It'll be fun.
We gotta get there by then.
Yikes.
So I asked you what I was just about to say was when you're in Hawaii, you said you were there too long to like not look at the markets, but you definitely got away from YouTube a little bit. But you said the time difference when you were in Hawaii was a major factor. You were only away for 5 days or so. Did you?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Did you look at the markets, or did you completely shut off?
Completely shut off.
Because we didn't really talk. I mean,
No.
when you go away and like when we do stuff, we kind of know like, hey, unless it's emergency, I mean, I think we may have chatted once or twice, or I was giving you thumbs up on your Instagram photos and stuff. But I missed talking the markets with you. I really did, and I'll tell you this: I don't think I've told you, or maybe you've seen it in my Discord. I am now an investor of ATVI.
Hey, there we go.
I have been on a kick, and I was kind of like, I picked a terrible time to start like swing trading and looking at technical analysis because I didn't like. I mean, my Discord is great, but like we talk on the phone, like in the car and stuff. Like I can't be as active with them. And so I made a criteria of like certain indicators and stuff that I was gonna try and swing trade. And I had my whole watch list, and like the second one I got to, because I put them in alphabetical order, was ATVI, and behind Apple, and like everything lined up. I was like, oh my gosh, the MACD is crossing the signal. Oh my gosh, the RSI is showing an awesome position. Oh my God, it just had an engulfing candlestick with volume. I'm like, I'm going in. And since then, that was 6 days ago, maybe, or like it was 5. I think today was the 5th or 6th trading day. I'm up 10% on the position, and all the signals are still pointing in the right direction. Like I thought, the hardest part, right, is when do you sell, right? I'm just going strictly like when I got in on just what I've learned, and I'm going to get out on just what I've learned. And last week I did pretty good. I tried to do like day trades and stuff, and not in like a risky way. Like I think I was up or down like 25 or 30 cents each day. This week I've been trying to do it with options, much bigger swings. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not. And when I say I'm not having a great week, I think I'm down on the week maybe like $250, and most of them was because I was like a little bit triggered. Like I got a little too nervous.
Yeah.
Like if I would have just hung in there a little bit longer, things would have went in my favor. Or like today, I day traded options with put options with Peloton, and I took pretty good profits. I took like $12, And then like because everyone's like locking your profits, get out before it goes bad. You hate to see that profit number in the green, and then it goes in against you, and you're like, damn it, I could have. And but I also learned that after you close that trade, something's gonna happen. It's either gonna go in the continue the way, and you're gonna be mad, or it's gonna bounce back, and you're gonna look like a genius. Either way, it's gonna move. Like the market goes on without you. Yeah, Peloton just continued just dump off today, and I got out for like $12. I think I sold back the options when it was like $150, and it got all the way down to like 300 and something.
Oh wow.
But in hindsight, I never would have stayed in that long anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what you miss with me, man. I'm really.
Hang on, are you investing in ATVI or are you swing trading ATVI?
I'm gonna swing trade it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because here's kind of like my new philosophy, if you will, is I think I have such a huge like index fund, and I have a little bit of disposable income that I can use to learn new things. And like I said, when I say I'm day trading, I was day trading with like profits and losses of 10 to 15 cents. The people in my Discord know this. I posted it. Like, I just got out for 36 cents, because I'm more just like testing the technical analysis and things we're learning. Like, I don't care about the money. And it's so like.
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
Is it a hobby?
Jay, to be honest, I think the reason why is because I don't want to knock something until I try it. And I've never been in a position to try technical analysis. I've never been there financially. Mm-hmm. I've never had a disposable income of $1,000 that I could use to try it and say, I'm going to lose this $1,000. Especially with all the options that I'm doing, which is already part of my quote disposable income.
Right.
And right now in Robinhood, I'm wheeling $40,000 worth of stock. So it's like for me to find a couple $1,000 to lose day trading, which I fully plan on doing, I at least wanted to learn it. I didn't want to be the guy that knocked technical analysis and knocked day trading. I've been pretty open that I just didn't want to learn the technical analysis. I didn't have anything against it. I just didn't have the time to learn it. And now I have a little bit of time. So I think the real reason that I'm doing it is mostly just for my own personal education, and it's so these buzzwords, right? And for the same reasons that I used to think that options trading was the riskiest thing in the world, mm-hmm. and that I would never be associated with it. And now I fucking have an options YouTube channel. Yeah. I didn't want to be like, technical analysis is bullshit and it's going to be risky and things like that. But like, I just wanted to know. And I've been dealing with money now for 6 years, and I've been learning different types of investments. Like I got into Bitcoin because I wanted to try it out. I tried Fundrise, I tried VinoVest, I tried all these different things just to see what stuck, and after 6 years and having a really, really good foundation, I had $1,000 and I'm like, let's give it a go. And the beautiful thing was, and the pros and the cons that I'm getting out of it is that even if I don't become a quote day trader or swing trader, I'm seeing technical analysis things that can be used for long-term stuff.
Yeah, I believe that for sure.
Like for example, like Facebook right now, a company that I really would never invest in, and a company that I think is overvalued. But looking at the charts, they're right at a really, really good moving average that's acted as support for the last 200 days. Every single time it gets down to this support level, it bounces right back up and recovers 12 to 13% over the last year of this data. So I'm like, even if I don't want to like have an investment in it, because I'm learning there's the difference between like investments and trades. Like mm-hmm. ATVI is a trade for me. Mm-hmm. Like an investment's long term. So when I think about Facebook, like I might get in a position with Facebook, seeing this technical analysis, knowing that I'm going to try and hold it for that recovery and then sell and take profits. That's like impossible though, because it doesn't have to go your way.
Right.
But.
So it's almost like how you have your wheel stocks versus your like long-term stocks. You're going to have your stocks you trade versus stocks you wheel versus stocks you have long-term positions in.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think they're all going to have a specific purpose. Like every dollar is going to have a purpose, but I have to like, figure out what that is. Like everything. Yeah. I'm going to have my investments. I'm going to have my things that I'm going to trade. And
Okay.
I think that's going to be, I mean, I have to test it, right? I have to do it
Yeah.
for a couple months and see if it works. But like, for example, like I went back to dividends and I wasn't really getting into Leap's options long term. But if I think that Facebook, there's a chance that it's going to recover, and I look back at the technical analysis and I say the odds they're doing well. Like they're in a pretty good favorable position. Now I can maybe start to start to hold calls for 3 to 4 months expiration and see what happens. Here's how I've really seen the technical analysis side, that we have a toolbox and you can keep throwing in tools into this toolbox to help you. Like you don't need to understand the Greeks to know how to write calls.
Right.
But when you understand how delta is associated with risk and leverage, it makes your probability higher, or at least gives you more things in your favor. I don't think that technical analysis is technically like foolproof.
Yeah.
You know, the whole like some people in Discord, and this is me too, like it looks like an ink blot test. Like you see what you want to see. And I think that's yes, because it's all gut. You know, it's all like when I used to play poker, you know, I tried to learn, like I didn't need to know how to read people's eyes, and I didn't know how to read people's tells and body language to play poker and be good at it. But when I learned that when people put their hand over their mouth, they're bluffing. When I learned that when people look around the room, they're anxious because they have a really good hand and they can't wait for the bet to get to them. Like when I learned those things, now every single time a guy looked around the room, did that mean he was holding aces? No,
Right.
sometimes
Yeah,
I was wrong.
Yeah.
But if 8 out of the 10 times he looked around the room, he had good cards, that at least pushes some favor to my side of the ring.
So here's a good question for you. You're a big believer in lump sum investing.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about TA.
Right.
So where does that kind of come into play? Like, are you still I don't give a shit if the stock market is at all-time highs on January 1st, I'm putting my $6,000 in my Roth.
Right.
Or are you going to look at the TA and you're going to be like, well, maybe I'll wait till March or whatever?
I think that's going to be the major difference between my investments and my trades. And I think that's going to be really, really hard for me because I'm not patient. And I got burned yesterday because I was impatient. Like everything I've read, like around holidays, earnings, things like that, the market's choppy, it's up, there's no real momentum. And like I was so excited to do it. I knew that I should have just watched and observed. And it's kind of funny, this guy that I follow, he streams every morning. He trades futures, which is a little different. But after I lost, I watched his stream. I listened to his stream on the way home. And he had a 3-hour stream, and the title was "Did Not Make Any Trades Today, Practicing Patience." And the whole, like, I went to the end because I knew it was going to be a lot of him watching. And towards the end, he was like, guys, sometimes the market's choppy, especially around the holidays, and there's no setups and there's no trades. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, that's why he's a professional.
Yeah.
And I'm a F-boy on the internet. But no, lump summing, this is like a point that we need to drive home, right? Like, as long as none of the money that I'm using is the money that I'm maxing out my Roth IRA in 7 days, none of the money that I'm using is affecting my 403B. None of the money I'm using is a part of the $100 that I invest into my kids' UTMAs every single month. This is strictly like I'm having a pretty good month financially.
So you're willing to lose, like you're already telling yourself, whatever I do with this money, I'm losing it.
I'm thinking of it as market tuition.
Yeah.
Like I am willing to lose $1,000 to say, here's what I learned in the last month or so. Here's where I think I can change and maybe do it. Or here's where at least now I can form an opinion from experience. Yeah. That's kind of the way I feel about it. Because I'll tell you this, we've talked so many times in this podcast and as friends, like if you're going to bed thinking about your investments, you're over leveraged. Or it's just taking up too much of your time. I've been so engulfed in this. And you know me, I'm 100%. Like when I first was like, I'm going to do this, I didn't sleep for like 5 days.
It's your new hobby.
Exactly. Right. I'm that guy. I have a new hobby. Right, because I get bored. I'm not patient. And that's why I know I could never be a day trader, because I'd be a day trader for like 3 months. And I'd be like, wow, okay, cool. Because I don't care about the money. You know, I'm financially independent. I don't live to make money anymore. I live to like have a good time. And that's a major point. If you're just hearing me for the first time, you don't really know me personally, like, I'm not day trading to make money. I'm day trading because I think it's cool, because I'm a science nerd and I love analytics and I love charts and I love patterns, and like it's aesthetically pleasing to me, and it occupies. I don't scroll TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I mean, I don't have social media. Like, I don't scroll those things. I literally sit at my lunch break like this and I stare at charts and I try and say to myself, well, if what I learned is correct, it should start to move this way. And then when it does so, you're like, no. You know, why? And then you learn risk and reward. Like, I'm using a 1 risk to a 2 reward, which means I only have to be right 33% of the time. I can be wrong 66% of the time and still break even. And I'm like, if I can be patient and I can learn certain things, boom. So, but I'll tell you this, out of all the fun and excitement that I had doing that, I cannot wait to max out my Roth IRA in 5 days. Like, we have like that little calendar where it's like, you take a little like ornament out of each day and you put it on the tree until Santa comes. I need one of those for like the countdown to when I can max out my Roth IRA. Oh my God. Like, I'm like, son of a bitch, why does the first of the year have to be on a weekend? like usually on the 2nd I can get it done. Now I got to wait all the way to the 3rd. Come on, man. Come on, calendar. You know, I'm going to have to go through.
Lump summing it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Time in the market beats time in the market.
For sure. Absolutely agree.
And mostly too, because I don't want to think about it. And I've got burned on that. I'll tell you, like the COVID thing, with that COVID crash, I maxed my Roth IRA out in January at pretty much all-time highs. And Tara, we did hers after mine, and we didn't have the $6,000 to do mine and hers all at once. So we did $6,000 in mine, and then we did like $1,000 a month for 6 months for her.
That's probably what Lindsay and I are going to do.
Well, March, April, and May were dope for her.
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, she had a bigger return than I did. But now 2 years later, it's all kind of leveled itself out. So in the short term, lump sum investing or dollar cost averaging, in the short term, that dollar cost average was in her favor. But I get to set it and forget it, man.
Yeah, you don't have to mess with it. You can check that off the list.
If I didn't have a YouTube channel and stuff like that, like, I literally would max it out and I wouldn't open Vanguard for the rest of the year.
Yeah, same.
You know, so that's kind of fun. But I'm just learning different ways to enjoy the market, right? Because it doesn't all have to be spreadsheets. It doesn't all have to be make money, or this efficiency and this little thing. Like, just like people enjoy going to the casino and playing blackjack and they lose $500, but they had a great time. That's how I'm thinking about this day trading experiment or this swing trading experiment that I'm doing.
That's my Robinhood account.
Exactly. And I'll say this, like, it's really making me appreciate Webull. We don't have an affiliate with them, so we're not plugging them, but
their setup, especially for desktop versions, pretty good.
That's what it is. Like, I'm on the desktop right now, and I'm like,
it's pretty solid.
Like, dude, I discovered today, they tell you every single stock. They will give you a profit loss breakdown of every stock, and they separate it from capital gains, dividends, and options. So at the end of the year, you can click on Apple, and it'll tell you how much is your unrealized capital gain or loss, realized capital gain or loss, options gain or loss, and dividends gain or loss, and then a net at the end. So, like, if you are a dividend investor, say, right, the whole thing is always like, well, the dividends are part of the growth. So, but now you can look at a dividend stock on Webull and at the end of the year be like, wow, it's up. I'm up 8% on this position for the year. 2% of it was dividends. 6% was growth. I was blown away. I'm like, that isn't, you can see each position. You can click a position and it tells you every order that you've ever made. And like I said, I don't know if other brokers do this. I've only dealt with Robinhood.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm kind of glad that they did that special where we got a couple more stocks, because like, it really got me back in there. And I'll be the first to say I put in my Discord today. They know, those of you that read it, but I moved my 100 shares of Foot Locker. I transferred them over to Webull today to see what that process is like. And because when you learn Webull, it's like just like it's something new. Like I looked at it like the Cheesecake Factory menu, or like the first time you picked up an iPhone, I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, you can just start with a blank screen, add a widget, get used to that one, add another one.
Yep.
So like this week, I've been dealing with learning their options chain, which is very similar to Fidelity, the way they have it lined out all in one line. And it's just so like right on the chart. You can buy and sell and set limit. You literally like, you kind of like scroll the mouse up, you click it. It's like, what would you like to do? I'm like, set a stop loss. And it's like, boop, drops a stop loss in there right there. I'm like, wow, that is, and it keeps your position right. Ah, it's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
So I'm really liking that. But that's what you missed with me with money. How's your investments?
Good.
How's the dividend tracker? I can't. Did you see? You're gonna be owing me a couple bucks.
Oh, I haven't checked yours yet.
Because I put in my video, and getting those emails.
Good. Keep doing it, man. I want to be able to write you a big old check.
Money in the bank, shorty. What you drink?
No, it's going well, man. We still we're bombarded with to-do list. So just so many things to update, upgrade, things we still got to add, do a lot of checklist items, a lot of to-do list stuff, but we'll get it done.
Luciano said, market tuition's awesome. I have 2 PhDs. No, but it's true. Anything we do, like even simple things like trading the wheel, or your first leaps option, you're gonna get burned. And I was listening to somebody. I was listening to a podcast on somebody that like day trades periodically, like 1 to 2 times a week, and he was saying that for 4 years in a row that he was taking it seriously, he lost roughly $6,000 to $10,000 a year. And for most people, that would sound ridiculous. But he's like, but at the end, on my 5th year, I made $60,000. So he's like, what college can you go to and pay $40,000 for, and then the first year out, get a job that pays you more than your tuition was, and you don't have a boss except for yourself? And that like really opened perspective for me, especially being a school teacher, because I never thought of it like this, right? We have no problem paying for tuition at college to maybe get a job and maybe not even learn this stuff. Half those things I took in college were like humanities, stupid courses I'd never take. But like, if you're learning options and you get burned a couple times or you're bag holding, everyone thinks it's a loss. It's kind of like how they punish people with running in sports. And then when you get to high school or college, you don't want to run anymore because it's just been a punishment. Like, instead of like thinking of, and that's in the Discord when people are like, yeah, I got burned. I'm like, we've been there.
Yeah, everybody.
You know, it's how much you bounce back, because I feel like if you went your first year of trading options, like maybe you did like 3 leaps options this year and they all went outstanding for you, I feel like you're in a worse spot than if one of those was awful.
Dude, that's a great point, because the people who win at first are winning with smaller amount of dollars, and then you get comfortable and then you're like, oh shit, I know how to do this. I won all last year. Let me add another couple $1,000s to this. And then you still win. And then you're like, oh, now I'm up big. And then you get real ballsy. Yeah. And you're like, now I'm going to add $5,000 to this trade. And then boom, that's when you get hit. And you're like, and I mean, oh, shit. It's good to learn those mistakes early.
Yeah. And this Peloton debacle that I'm still going through, this has been an amazing, I knew how to roll options, and I knew how to roll it a credit and roll it a debit, but I really never understood like why. I never understood how you can really use it to save your ass. I'm going to win on this Peloton trade. It might take me a year, but I went, if I was new to options, I would have lost like $400 on that thing. I'm going to get out. And I mean, when I say win, if I get out even at this point, that's a win, because the thing is still running down. It's fucking like $35 today. But I don't have to worry about it again until March when it gets closer. Even if I like have to hold it forever, and I might even get lucky. Like if it goes on, if it recovers
Just a little bit.
right now, I have a put at $40, and it's down like 70% in the last quarter.
Yeah.
Even if it takes back 35% of that, if I didn't know how to roll and I never got burned by a put before, if I never got burned by a put before, I never would have learned how to roll. I never would have learned it, and luckily the first time I got burned by a put, it wasn't as bad, but I knew that, wow, if this happens again to me, I'm going to be all right. And that feeling of knowing you're going to be all right and get through it, that's with any investment or trade. Like when you know your possible outcomes and you know how you're going to get out of it, it's like that's a good feeling.
Is that your worst one right now? Piton?
Yeah, it's the one I have to work the hardest for. I mean, I had a covered call with VTI, and the strike was 35, and then like 2 weeks ago or something, it went on a run to like maybe like 42, and I rolled it to end of January
What is
at
this
a credit, VTI.
Oh, okay.
And I rolled it for a credit, same strike, but I rolled it from December 21st to January 21st. And it recovered. There was a pullback on VTI back down to 32. I don't know what it was today, but I think earlier in the week or end of last week, it was back down to 230. And I was in a great position. I think I was at like 60% profit on that trade. But I was thinking to myself, I don't fear assignment. So I'm like, even if in the next month it creeps, like VTI has a little bit more swings and things like that. But as far as like Piton is like my worst current like holding trade. But I think my biggest disappointment of the year, my biggest lesson of the year is definitely going to be my Vuzi calls. I never again will let an option get to over 500% and not take profits.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even think I was being greedy. Vuzi was literally one of the first, it's in one of the top 5 leaps options I ever placed. And it happened quick. December 18th. I'm actually trying to sell one of them off because I have 2 $5 calls that expire next January 2023. And I just got long-term capital gain. So I've actually been trying to sell one of those 2 off and take some profits. But it happened quick. I bought those leaps in December. By January, February, they were at like almost 3,000% gain.
So what's your like go-to percentage gain then? Like if you're like, okay, I'm at 200%, I'm getting rid of this thing.
Right. And I don't know, because my position or my thought process then was like, it's not going to go back down to 10. Like when it was $40,
yeah,
or whatever, got to 30 and change, I didn't think that it was going to go back down to 9.
Right.
I thought maybe it would recover a little bit, but if it was a little bit later in the year, I probably would have taken profits. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I think realistically, I'd like to think that like if an option gets to 1,000%, you got to take it. You got to take it. And if it now, especially knowing
or
like
even take some of it.
Yeah, like I had like a couple options. I could have trimmed one off, or like even knowing now TA, I could probably like get out, and then if it pulls back, get back in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, my Vuzi calls, that's like my biggest, like I had the money in my hand and I just handed it right back to the casino. I had like
worst feeling.
over 3,000. Like, what was your AMC and GameStop? Remember that day when you were streaming live and you were up like 21 grand?
Yeah,
something like that,
nuts,
dude. And then it pulled back like the next day.
Yeah,
like that
fucking Robin Hood douchebags couldn't let me. What was he? Couldn't buy it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Could only sell it. So what's gonna happen? People are gonna. I was so pissed off. Yeah, I mean, I still came out ahead, but not anywhere where I was. Yeah, dude, I was up. Oh my god, just. I was like, it felt illegal. It felt illegal for how much money I was making on a live stream at that. So oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, that's how I can, Honest Life said, that's how I can use TA to help me with my leaps. I think that's because right now, I've been watching TQQQ, the NASDAQ ETF, and it's pulling back right now, but looking at the TA, it still can pull back to the 180-day moving average, and if it does so, if it bounces back to previous highs, it's like 22%. So if I'm patient for another month and see if it comes back, But no, this is a good reflection of the year. I mean, I'll say that Tattoo Chef, I'm not bag holding. I didn't lose on Tattoo Chef, but I thought it was going to do a lot better for me than it did. It kind of hung out around $20 the whole year. But other than that, I had a really, really good trading year. I'm going to be very, very interested. It's going to be a lot of work, but I can't wait to go back and see how much money I made trading options as quote fun.
Yeah.
Because I want to say that between the wheel and leaps and stuff, I probably made $50,000 this year.
That's good.
And
it's really good.
But looking back in it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I mean, my Discord and my YouTube, based mostly around options at this point, and it's fun. It's awesome, the conversations, and it's almost like I'm paying a monthly fee. I'm paying a monthly fee to build awesome relationships and have this community and stuff, and then most of the time I'm getting that fee back. So
yeah.
What's your biggest regret of the year, like with the stocks or anything like that? Did you get kicked? You didn't. You're a little bit more YOLO-y than me. You took a little bit more risks than I did.
Yeah, but I'm not really down. I'm down big, but probably the worst play I had that I knew wasn't a long-term play was my Wish play. That was strictly a Wall Street bet is all it was, and it turned out horribly wrong. I'm still writing covered calls on them just to keep trying to earn some of that loss back. It'd take me years to get it all back, but
it's funny you mention that, because I was one of the things I was going to ask you is, even though we're on YouTube, we still watch YouTubers and we still watch videos. Is there anything that you bought or any trades or any investments that you made because of what you saw on the internet? Did any of them work? Or did you not take any trades from anything you learned on the internet?
I would honestly, man, most of my stuff I do is usually from my own research, to be honest. But I will say what got me interested in a stock was YouTube, and that was Palantir.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else got me interested. I'll say there's another stock that got me interested, but I'll have to think about it.
Right.
Because I watch videos all the time, and it'll stir up ideas. And Palantir was definitely a YouTube idea stock. And then as I looked into it myself, I was like, throw some money on this thing.
Yeah.
So but I'm down in Palantir. I'm down in Palantir right now. Not much, but I am down. I'm trying to think of what else. If there's some big, I definitely took some losses on short-term options trades, but I also had some very big wins too. What
was your biggest win then?
6+ grand maybe.
In a trade?
Yeah, options trade. I think it was AMC. I think. And then I also had a really good $6,000 plus trade in RMG, which is now, I believe, RMO. It was Romeo. It was back in February, March, and everything was freaking skyrocketing. No matter what you bought, it was going up. It was a SPAC, one of the first SPACs, back when SPACs were going nonstop, going crazy. I bought a bunch of it, and I looked like a genius because it just kept going up, and I literally sold. This was all luck. It was all luck. Mm-hmm. I sold at the perfect time. It peaked at 38, I want to say. I'd have to go back and look, man. It's been so long, but it peaked maybe 40 or something like that, and I sold at 37. So I made I think I made around 6-7 grand on that. But then I've had some losses. I think I'm down 2 grand in ATVI right now. But I also have a pretty large position with ATVI.
Yeah.
Those are my biggest losses though, and I'm holding out because I know I'm gonna at least break even, and I'm also gonna be writing covered calls on my ATVI positions in Fidelity because I'm trying to get my Fidelity portfolio to be more of a VTI focused with a few higher growth stocks in there.
Yeah.
Robinhood was my YOLO gamble account. It's slowly starting to turn into more of a options slash more riskier type investments that I'm still going to be holding long term. So, like for instance, I just placed a cash secured put on SoFi in my Robinhood account. So I wrote a $14.50 strike cash secured put on SoFi, $10 in premium, expires tomorrow. We'll just see what happens with SoFi tomorrow. I kind of hope I get assigned, to be honest. And I'll be writing cash secured puts on SoFi and Robinhood until I get assigned.
Yeah.
Unless it shoots up one day to back to $22, which is very likely. So I'm hoping I get assigned at least 100 shares before that happens.
Yeah.
And I own some stuff in my Fidelity portfolio, SoFi in my Fidelity portfolio as well, which I'll be writing covered calls on until those get assigned, and then put that cash probably either in Robinhood or throw it right back into VTI in Fidelity. So,
Boom.
yeah.
I'm opening my second drink.
I know I'm going to have to go make another one soon, but
We're doing Abuse of Science 3 can this today.
got to save that for me when I come up. Sounds amazing.
11% ABV. India Pale Ale with Incognito Sombrero, Incognito El Dorado, and Cryopop.
Sounds legit.
Some people asked, I guess the 50K number was a big number. Alex said 1% a month, way more than 1% a month, first and foremost, and very, very skewed. February with the short sale, the short squeezes and stuff like that. Pretty big months. January, February, March, huge months. And
yeah, those are insane months, man.
Yeah. And when I was going to say, even though I was just like talking crap about when I was talking crap about Vuzi, when Vuzi was doing well, when it was climbing, we had a couple months where Vuzi weekly calls were $200, and we definitely caught in the Discord, a bunch of hype things. Like Neo was paying stupid premiums earlier in the year. Valet was paying stupid premiums earlier in the year. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I made a lot more money wheeling than I did with the poor man's covered call and buying leaps options, but it was a lot more work. So I would say out of that, if I'm saying 50K off the top of my head, just knowing that there's 12 months in the year, and, did I average $4,000 a month? That's kind of how I came up with that 50K. I would say that probably 30 plus of that was before June, or even before May. I do not want people in any way, shape, or form to think that I clear $4,000 a month doing the wheel. That's not right. But
unless you got 200 grand you're working with,
right? I'm looking at the entire year, and there were some ups, and I had very, very little downs with trading the wheel. And I think also too, I'm counting a little bit of appreciation of stocks inside that wheel portfolio, meaning that when I say, let's say, for example, I trade VTI and I'm doing the wheel and I'm making a couple $100 here and there, and then the stock keeps climbing and my strike price keeps climbing. And my basis when I first bought VTI was $220. Now, 7 months later, I get assigned on a call at $260. I count that as profit from trading options. So I guess wait for the video because I'll break it down. But I mean, people can pick it apart and say whatever they want. But I'm in no way, shape, or form like embellishing, but I'm in no way, shape, or form giving you exact numbers. And I will fully admit that February was a month that I don't think we'll ever feel again.
Yeah. That was a massive month.
I think it was once in a lifetime. And I am so glad that I knew. Yeah. And Alex said VTI covered calls are a good way to sleep. Like, there's a lot of benefits to doing the wheel with VTI. Number one, it tends to go up pretty steady. If it does dip, it always recovers because it's an index of the S&P 500 of the total stock market. So if it pulls back, it's definitely going to go up. And it's monthlies. So it's like you can kind of say, is the total stock market going to go up 8% next month? It's nice when you trade with stocks that you know what they're kind of going to do. I can write a call on VTI for a month from now at a 3% gain and say, it's supposed to return me 8% a year historically, 30% last year. So even if you went by the 30%, it's going to go up, 2 to 3% a month. So it's very, very easy to write calls with VTI. And if you get assigned, you made 3% in a month on 22 grand. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll get assigned and I'll either buy the shares right back or I'll sell a put and wait for it to recover that 3% because it usually goes up 4% a month and comes back 1. It goes up 4% and it comes down 1. And then it comes down 5. And then it's very, very, quote, predictable.
So let me ask you this then to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen 2022? What do you expect 2022 to look like? And I'm not a big, I don't really like to give short-term predictions and stuff because it's literally a guess. It's a shot in the dark. But if you had to say what you think the year is going to look like, what would you say?
This is going to sound super cliche, Jay, but here's how I see it working out. I see it as I'm consumer debt free. I see it as my retirements are maxed with a total stock market index fund. I see it as my Roth IRA is maxed. And I see it as I'm probably not going to have to live off my investments in 2022. So I do not care.
Fair.
It's because
But if you had to guess, what would you say?
I think the total stock market is going to return 8%
in 2022.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because can I say anything intelligently that skews away from historical averages?
No, I just think we're going into a weird year in 2022.
If I say 8% and it does a 30, okay.
Yeah, cool.
If it does 8%, I look like a genius. And if it does 0%, it's not that bad because we just had a 30.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think that 30 was too high and you didn't invest in 2021 and it goes up another 10%, you're going to be like, shit.
Yeah.
Why didn't I get in?
Yep.
But I'm definitely, I think and I did a video about this. I think one of the things I'm really excited about in 2022 is the ability to take a little bit more risks. I've been so conservative and I got into the game late, right? I found out I had debt when I was 35, 36 years old. I never had that young man's mentality where I could take a little bit more calculated risk for some calculated return because I had to build my nest egg and make up for my 20s and 30s of being an asshole with money. Now with my side businesses and my passive income and my high W-2 job, which makes all of this possible, my W-2 job funds my side hustles and allows me to take risks in my side hustles. Now, frankly, I have the opportunity in 2022 to try and maybe invest in a startup or maybe try and grow this or try day trading or try a real estate investment. Those are the things I think about, the things that I can control in 2022. The markets are going to do what they're going to do and I'm going to react to them. I know how to buy puts. I know how to buy calls. So if it's bearish or bullish, it should be all right. I know that 80% is in the total stock market index fund. And if it crashes, it crashes. I'm not looking to pull down from my nest egg right now. I know that I have a year's worth of living expenses in cash. So even if it does go down, I'll be okay. I think that one of the best things about 2022 is that I've worked my ass off for the last 6 years to not really care what the markets do. don't compare your day one to my year 6, right? Like, I'm not saying it to be like, look at me, king of the castle, king of the castle. I'm just saying that I'm saying that if you're
Very
in year,
nice.
yeah, very nice. I'm saying if you're in year 1 and you live below your means and you avoid consumer debt and you invest as much as you can into broad-based, low-cost index funds, you can do whatever the hell you want with your extra money. You know?
I like it. Bro, can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna say I got my first full clean paycheck for real estate investments, but it wasn't full clean check.
What do you
I
mean full
still
clean check?
like no maintenance issues.
Oh, okay.
I still had about $300 in maintenance issues I was getting taken care of for the newest property. There were some things that I didn't get to that needed to be taken care of while I was up there, but my real estate account was starting to get a little low because I acquired a new property. I had to do some maintenance issues. I took a trip up there myself. Like when I take a trip up there, everything gets paid out of the real estate account. I don't take a dollar out of my personal account. So it was starting to get really low, like so low to where I was like, great, I'm going to have to put some of my own personal money into this, meaning I'm losing money. Well, I got my first real, first real paycheck, rent check, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I was doing the math because like I said, I had $300 or so I was still having to pay in maintenance. So in the months that I won't have any maintenance issues, which last year was a lot, like on my first property, I only had maybe 3 or 4 months of maintenance issues. Everything else was nothing. Just all clean paychecks. This one came in. It was like, well, I made a post about it. It was
Yeah,
it was like $1,700 or something I got in my account. Now I still got to pay mortgages with that. Mortgages come out to be like $900. So subtract 900 from the 1,750 or whatever it was. So we're looking at 800, and then add that $300. Add maybe it's 250. Add the 250 back into that or whatever it is. It's close to $1,000 a month. I'm getting cash flow from 2 properties. And I was talking to Lindsay about it. I'm like, babe, so property values are super heavy right now. Dude, I've been working my ass off to try and find some local properties here in the area that I live.
Mm-hmm.
And towns north and south of me, and I'm not having any luck. No one wants to sell their. I had somebody call my bandit sign. Went out there and looked at his property. I gave him an offer on the spot, and still didn't work out. He ended up going on the market because he knows he can get more.
Yeah.
So I'm not having any luck with that. But I'm also thinking like, man, if I paid off one of these properties, that's going to increase my cash flow anywhere from depending on which property, $370 to $650 a month that I'm going to get in extra because I won't have a mortgage to pay for. But then I'm also like, if I use all of that cash to pay down a property, the second a nice property comes up on the market, I'm going to be shit out of luck because I don't have any cash, minus my line of credit. But I don't know. I go back and forth all the time. But then I'm also like, it also would be nice to have a $500,000 taxable brokerage account. That'd be really nice. That's what I want that M1 Finance portfolio to look like.
Yeah. You have do you have like goals that you want your portfolios to be like in 2022? Like, or you just throw money in there?
I'm throwing money in, man. It's gonna be one of those things. Like, this is the first full year we will have a paid off mortgage. So that'll be nice.
Right.
Lindsay and I definitely want to do some traveling, so that we're gonna allocate some money to that, quite a bit. Other than that, most of our money is gonna hopefully go into the taxable brokerage accounts once retirements and stuff are maxed out, and then other than that, man, it's just having money set aside to put down on a property in case we find something, or Lindsay and I find something, and be ready to go after it.
I really want to get outside the spreadsheet a little bit next year.
Yeah.
I'm very
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. Just the week I was in Mexico and got to step away and not look at the stock market and not pay attention to anything, not look at emails. Dude, I'm telling you, it felt effing amazing. Like when I text you, I think it was was like our second to last day or something. You and I were talking, and I was like, I think you said something about the markets. I was like, dude, I haven't even looked, man.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even looked. And like it was almost a habit where like, and like I never really took my phone with me. I just like, F it, we're gonna enjoy this vacation.
Right.
Lindsay always had her phone in case the kids or something, but like I left my phone in the room half the time. I would like look at it and I would catch my thumb like going to like Robinhood or Fidelity to like click it, just because it was like literally like a reflex. I remember looking at my phone and like just clicking it out of habit, and I'm like, nope, not looking at it. Don't care because I know I'm not gonna make any moves anyways. Felt amazing, dude.
You have a goal video coming out? Luciano asked. My goal video is already out. Did you make a goal video for 2022 yet?
Haven't made a goal video. I did my investing plan video. That's
Okay.
kind of a goal. It was like not really goals, but I talked about what I really wanted to focus on, and it basically was in a nutshell, obviously keep putting money into taxable brokerages. I'd like to get that as high as possible next year. It just all depends on how the business does, though. I would love to be buying up more real estate for average money, but also for Lindsay and I. And then I would also really want it to try and increase my position in Bitcoin. I really would like to. I love seeing it drop down because I don't want to be buying. I mean, I'm buying at these levels just because I buy it every month. I dollar cost average into Bitcoin, but if I see it drop below 30 again, I bought pretty heavy back when it dropped down in 20 into what was it 29,000 back in May, I believe. I bought quite a bit of it. And then I'm hoping to see that drop back down to under 30,000 again because I'll probably do the same thing. I just got to have cash ready to go. But Bitcoin, real estate, and taxable brokerages is like where I really hope to improve next year and possibly get closer to that $1 million mark net worth.
Jeff said, hang in there. I sent mailers out for a solid year before I got my first cheap real estate investment. I walked dozens of houses and got told no a lot.
Well, it's good to hear. That's what I need to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm experiencing the same thing.
And he wears a cowboy hat too, so you can trust him.
He's legit. Just don't touch it.
Don't touch his cowboy hat.
Nope.
He put it on for the Zoom call on the Discord the other day.
Don't touch another man's cowboy hat.
Don't touch another man's anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
If somebody's listening that's like getting into money or just starting to figure it out, what are little wins that, looking back, you didn't celebrate enough?
Paying off small debts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, start simple, start small. Making your first big investment in the stock market. Like I remember when I bought my first stock, felt pretty cool. I remember walking into my mom and dad's house and being like, I'm part owner of a oil company. Like so douchey.
Your brother told in your brother's episode, he told that story.
So douchey, but enjoy it though, man. Like enjoy those moments because I look back at it and I'm like, man, I'm thinking about buying my first stock and how crazy that felt to me and how big of a deal that felt to me because like growing up, like my mom and dad never did that stuff. We never talked about it, and I always grew up like I remember being in high school thinking like my grandpa was like he's pretty well off. He's not like super super rich, but he's well off in retirement, and I always wanted to talk to him. I'm like, Grandpa, like Paul, how'd you do this? Like, how'd you? He never really talked about it. He never really answered my questions. He never really did anything like that. So I just kind of like never knew. And I mean, now I know he just stuck it in his 401k and just did that year over year over year, became a millionaire.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's a millionaire. He probably is, but and that's basically it, dude. Like celebrate those little small things that you get started. The small debts, the first stock you buy, buying your first index fund. Like go out to eat, enjoy it, make it fun. People don't do that enough.
You're so right. I had like I did the debt snowball when I paid off my debt. And I thought that getting out of debt was the only accomplishment, and not even like clearing debts. I think if you're new, like paying more than the minimums for 3 months in a row is a win.
Oh, absolutely.
And I talk all the time about when I finally got that done, like that was a good win. And like you said, your first investment, like opening up a Roth IRA in 2022, if you don't have one, is looking back. Opening a Roth IRA is one of the greatest things I did for my financial future.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think that you had to max it to see its true gain, and it took me 3 years to get to the point where I can max it. So for 3 years, I didn't max it. And then it took another 2 years before I was able to max it on the first of the year, and if I had to like send a message out, it would be like, we're not allowed to give personal finance advice, and we don't give investing advice. But like, what I'm telling you is from personal experience, regardless of options, regardless of stocks, I beg you, like, consider opening a Roth IRA if you don't have one, as at least a hedge. At least if you're YOLOing options and you lose your money, you put your head down. You're like, oh, actually, I still have that Roth IRA with VTI in it, or FSKX in it, or whatever index you choose. Like, that's so, we don't talk about it enough how important like all of this fun and games is, because we have a safety net under us.
Agreed.
We really do. And it's a cliche time of year to think about those things, but man, my Roth IRA is going to hit $40,000 this year, and it has over $12,000 of tax-free growth in it. And all I did was watch a YouTube video, and literally had the YouTube video up, and it was like, go to Vanguard.com. And I pressed pause and I went to Vanguard.com. Yep. And it was like, and I literally went through all of these steps, and looking back, I'm like, wow, it was probably more important than like rushing to pay my debt off really fast. Because if anything, that just put like pressure on my life.
Well, I also want to say this too. Like, if you are listening right now and you hear these things Brad and I are doing or have done, and you're like at these first couple baby steps, and like you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. Like, Brad and I were there,
Yeah.
And we were there not too long ago.
Watch my first YouTube video. You will laugh your face. I'm not in it, like, because I screen recorded and voiced over, but just the pain, you could hear it in my voice. So many people have been like, wow, Brad, I could just feel the pain in your voice.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. Everyone starts somewhere, and like, it really is cool to think about how like much we both have learned over the years. I mean, this goes back to 2014 for me, like when I first really started my financial journey, and like not knowing how to buy a stock. Like, I remember I did the same thing, Brad, with like you did with Vanguard and your Roth IRA. I remember watching a YouTube video, or shit, I don't know if I watched a YouTube video. Maybe it was like a blog post I watched or like read step by step how to go buy your first stock on E-Trade. And I also had to pay $10 in commission to buy the damn thing. Like $10. Think about that for a second. If you're just getting the stock market, think about buying a stock, and right away, right after you purchase it, you're already $20 in the hole, because you got to pay $10 to purchase it, and then when you go to sell it, you got to pay another $10.
Yep.
That is what's crazy.
How did that first premium from a covered call feel?
Oh, dude, that was so. It felt illegal.
If you had to rank your first dividend payment versus your first premium payment.
Oh, man. No. That's a hard one, dude.
I feel like it's pretty easy for me.
Well, you're more of an options guy than I am. Like,
my first option, I was at the same level as you were. Your first option.
No, I'm talking about like what you like more. Like, I still feel like I love dividends, man. Like, I think when I first got my dividend payment, it was actually for my 401k.
Probably.
When I first was like, what the hell is this thing right here? And I looked at it, I was like, wait, this thing paid me, $3 or whatever the hell it was for doing nothing? And like, I remember looking it up, like dividend reinvestment, because you know how Vanguard has that in like the little chart. I was like, what's dividend reinvestment? Why did I get this? And I think I actually even called Vanguard and asked them about it. And I was like, what does this mean whenever I get this like $4? And like, is this something I'm paying for? Or like, what is this? And they're like, oh no, that's your fund that pays you their dividend. And I'm like, wait, what? And I remember just going down this rabbit hole. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And then like options, like I was a little bit more like, I knew more what was going on, so like I knew it was gonna happen. And it felt cool, but when I first read about the dividend, I was like, dude, I got this for doing nothing. This is insane. And this is before like big passive. This was back in 2014. There was no passive income videos on YouTube or anything, so I was legit like, I did nothing for this money, and it's coming in. It was unreal.
I think part of the reason why the options premium was cooler for me was because of that. Like, you can get a dividend payment by accident.
Yeah.
Like when I got my first premium payment, I felt like I truly learned something that not a lot of people know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I felt like I felt like I went to school, I learned it, I put it to practice, I executed, and there it was.
Think about that for a second, though, dude, because every time I write a covered call or a cash secured put or something, and I get that little cash thrown into my cash account, I always think to myself, why do more people not know about this? Because
dividends or calls? I'm sorry, what'd you say? Premium or dividends?
Premium.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, like every time I make that trade, I'm like, why do people not know more about this? And then I think about that. I'm like, think about if you walk down the street, right? Like you're walking down New York City, or
this is what I was telling you. I was telling you how great it is.
Well, dude, I'm just saying though, like you're walking down, Main Street in your local town or whatever. Look at every single person around you, and if you walk up to that person and say, "Hey, have you ever wrote a cash secured put?" Or, "Hey, have you ever wrote a covered call?" I guarantee you, probably 9.5 out of 10 of them are most likely going to say no. Which is, it's crazy though, because you think about this, like the rich get richer and all this cliche stuff, but like no, it's legit. Like there are things that are not taught in mainstream society that you have to go look for. That kind of sets the probably people who are going to be a little more wealthier from the others because you did set out to look for that. So props to you for listening to a podcast like Average Money or watching the videos on YouTube and learning then how to better yourself financially, because now you are one of those few who know that, and you can take advantage of dividends, investing in stocks, premiums from options trades and all that stuff. So it's, God, dude, it's so crazy to think about it, man.
Yeah.
So crazy.
And I can't wait to hear. Like I said, Robin has been probably one of my strongest supportive Discord members and internet friends, and she's in a battle of her life with that fucking car and that interest.
She's going to knock it out.
When she knocks that out, I think Jeffrey said, like, I'm going to binge drink that day. Like, because we know, like, Robin's been around we know.
Yep.
And the feeling is going to be incredible for everybody, and that's what Average Money is about, because when I got debt free, I had like 3 people to call, and most people were like, cool,
Brad.
Oh, you're on YouTube still? Cool, man. Good job. But hopefully we can create a community where it's not bullshit. Like, if we are here to clap when you win, and I am on the record saying, like, I may not remember my first dividend because I got it probably by accident, but I remember how good it felt when I realized what a dividend was and I got one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember what it felt like to open a Roth IRA, and I remember what it felt like to max it out. I remember what it felt like to pay off my truck and still have a lot of debt left, and I remember what it feels like to be debt free. JJ and I have not forgotten where we come from, and regardless of your level, like, you might be listening to this podcast and we'll go on tangents about options, and today we talked earlier about day trading and things like that, way over your head. But guys, I didn't buy my first stock until I was 37 years old. Okay, so take that for what it will. We're looking forward to, building that community. And speaking of that community, we recorded an hour earlier tonight so that we could get off of the public stream.
I gotta go make another one.
Start pouring some cocktails. So I think with that said, Jay, is there anything else you want to add to, I think, what was a really, really valuable episode, or at least a good reflection piece for me? If the listeners didn't get anything out of it, I feel better.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what this whole podcast is. Just you and I bullshitting for an hour, man. But this will come out after Christmas, won't it?
Yep.
So I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate out there. I hope you got to spend time with family and loved ones, because that's what it's all about. Other than that, man, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say except I love this community we're building. I hope we can keep building this, and hopefully one day have an actual in-person Christmas party somewhere in the United States, or hell, even out of the country. I don't care. And be able to meet some of these amazing faces and people that we've heard of and stories we get sent in to us.
I'll tell you this, Jay, before we sign off. I oftentimes, we can get a little bit, not realize how blessed we are. And this podcast now is a year and 3 months old. And I know we did a similar reflection episode last year around this time, and I don't remember what it was about. And I think after having this episode, I'm probably going to go back and listen to last year's and see what we thought then and how it is now. And I challenge you to maybe go back and look for one of those late December episodes. I'm sure it's labeled like goals for 2021 or things like that. And I think now, speaking in retrospect, knowing that this podcast is going to live on, I look forward to December 22nd, 2022, and coming back and listening to this episode. Guys, we're blessed. We are. And we'll see you on the next one. 1 second, Jay. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the Average Money Podcast. Monday after Christmas. Hope everyone had an amazing holiday. Hasn't happened yet for us. It's the Wednesday before, but we're hoping we all get to Christmas in a wonderful fashion. Just had a great episode, hanging out, a little bit of reflection. Jay just got back from vacation, so we talked a little bit about that, but mostly like our year in money and our goals and the things we want to accomplish, not only for us, but our community. Talked about some of our big wins, some of our big losses, some things and just, things that we learned. It was a really good episode, I think, to end the year off right. And I hope you guys really enjoyed. If this is your first time, welcome, and welcome to 2022, the Average Money Podcast. My name is Brad Finn. I'm joined every single week with J.J. Buckner, who did not get a tan last week in Cancun. What's up, JJ?
I got a little bit.
Nah, dude, you're pasty.
Oh, man.
I mean, the rosiness in my cheeks after drinking for 2 hours just now. I'm red. I'm tanner than you are right now.
Oh, man, I don't like hearing that. I know I need to go spend another month in Hawaii to get that tan back, I guess. Gosh dang it. No, good episode coming up, guys. Yeah, Brad touched also, you forgot to mention, man, you touch on your day trading technical analysis experience. That's
losing money.
It's a good one. But no, guys, again, like Brad said, hope you all had an amazing holiday. Got to spend the time with family and loved ones. That's what it's all about. And let's get into today's episode.
Right on, bud.
Cool.
So for everybody else, I'm going to stop recording, Jay. For everybody else, let's do a take 5.
Yeah.
If you're in one of our Discords, we are going to post a link to the live stream in one of the Discords. I'm gonna link them in mine and Average Money, and JJ will list it in his. We'll post a link to the live, and then I will link the Zoom link in that chat, and we'll put on some Christmas music, and maybe we'll bring in 2 or 3 people. I will ask this: if you are going to hop on live with us, at least get like your ear pods or have headphones in so there's no echo. And then this is like a really, really good mic. If you're yelling at the computer, it just sounds like shit. But if you think you're going to want to hop on a call, we'll do maybe like 2-3 minutes with anybody that wants to join us. Hop on, do a cheers, whatever. Maybe I would love to put some faces to the names. I know there's some people that want to stay anonymous or whatever, but I'll tell you this, this will not be public. And, after this, we will take it down, so it won't even be something you can archive. So the only people that are going to see it are going to be the people live. So it's 8:48. Let's say 9 o'clock. Jay, we'll post that link. I'll make a new Zoom link with everyone. We'll have a waiting room. So when you join it, we'll talk about that when we get it. But we'll post first a new live link.
Do we want to go live on YouTube, just unlisted, so people can still watch?
Yeah, unlisted.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll make.
We're gonna make an unlisted. We'll make an unlisted link for people to hop in our Discords, and then in the chat, I'll post our Zoom link with the waiting room, and people can come in. But we'll talk about the waiting room once we get in. But yeah, make an unlisted live stream, and then we'll post it in all of our Discords for say 9 o'clock. Yeah, 10 minutes. We'll make another post. Yeah,
sounds good to me, man.
All right, guys.